useless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Box, the exciting show where we open a box and decide if the box rocks or if the box full of rocks.
I don't know if this is gonna be a good episode.
This pillow is fucking useless shirt.
Yeah.
Grid is live. Initiate.
Excellent! I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Bogus.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
My name's Norman Bates.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I'm Yvonne.
Merry Christmas, movie home! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Hail to the king, baby.
Useless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Box, the exciting show where we open a box and decide if the box rocks or if the box full of rocks.
I don't know if this is gonna be a good episode.
This pillow is fucking useless shirt.
Grid is live. Initiate.
Excellent! I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Bogus.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
My name's Norman Bates.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I'm Yvonne.
Merry Christmas, movie home! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Hail to the king, baby.
No. We're not doing an entire unwind full of the credits.
I feel like that would be par for the course for the nonsense we do here.
I was gonna say, I mean, we got more credits in there that we can use.
I'm sure we could just like make the whole show like numerous different versions of credits.
You want some credits? Here we go.
No.
Did someone take credits?
Dwayne's thumbs up gives me every time. He's just like,
well, it is Sunday, June 13th, 2021. Welcome to the Sunday Evening Unwind, a very professional and serious show here on the PJ Campbell Network. None of us
serious, most professional of them all.
None of us are PJ Campbell, and this is barely a network. So I don't know what's happening. I am also very clearly not in my usual place. I am in a bed in another state at a house.
Not Florida.
Not
You're
Florida.
Not in Florida.
No, I am not in Florida. I am not in New York. I am not in California. I am not in Nevada. I'm not in Arkansas. I'm not in Arizona. I'm not in Colorado. I'm not in South Dakota or North Dakota. I'm not in South Carolina or North Carolina. I'm not in Georgia. I'm not in Tennessee. Not in Texas. Not in Wyoming. Not in Washington State, not in Washington, D.C. I'm not in Virginia or Vermont. None of the V's. Not in Rhode Island, not in New Jersey. Not in New Mexico.
I'm suddenly captivated.
Let's see, where else am I not?
I was gonna say you've listed about
Has anybody figured it
half the
out yet?
states yet.
Welcome to today's game where guess what state I'm in. I am not in Pennsylvania. Nope.
Maxwell. Welcome to episode 1 of my show Plug.
Plug.
Plug
on PJ Campbell Network After Dark.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that could be fun.
Speaking of plugs, why don't we plug some of the shit we got coming up on the network in the next few days. Alrighty then. Tomorrow, Monday, I assume we're doing a watch along. I don't know what we're watching. I don't know who's going to be along. Check back to our Twitter account at PJC Network for full details on that. I have an idea as to what it may be because I'm going to Disney World on Friday with PJ, so maybe it'll be a Disney World adjacent film. Oh, wait, credits? What?
Wait, you and PJ are going to what?
Yeah, on Friday.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, we're
just
gonna
you and PJ.
No, we're gonna be with you the whole time, but you live there.
Okay, thanks.
So you're not traveling. You're getting in the car and driving like 20 minutes to pick me up at the airport.
What he's saying is it's implied you'll be there.
Yes, thank you, Brandy. Here's the Twitter account. Tuesday.
Nothing is ever implied until it's said.
Tuesday, why don't you take this one, Amber, because I feel really gauche talking about this myself. What's happening on the network Tuesday night?
So on Tuesday evening at 11 Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, we are going to be celebrating Maxwell's birthday with his Maxwell's Really Dumb birthday stream. I'm going to be your host. Hopefully PJ is going to show up to help me out with that. We got a couple other people involved, and literally at this point, anybody who wants to hang out can come. I'm like, I'll just send you a link and be like, cool, you can be here too. Everybody come celebrate this guy's birthday.
So
it's going to be great.
I have a question. Which
I have
of
an
these
answer.
5 Maxwells is your favorite Maxwell?
I mean, the one where you're Elsa's not that bad, but I also like the Kristoff one where you have the super bright pink hair.
Yeah, I ruined that, didn't I?
Oh my god. Okay, so we went swimming. We went to Volcano Bay, and that happened. However,
yep, that would do it.
Pink fades fast. That's really what it is. It's really not that big a deal. Anyway, yeah. So birthday stream, that's a thing. Woo.
Okay. A couple other things. Coming up the last Wednesday of the month, Suddenly Soundtracks is returning with Added to Playlist Favorite Songs Volume 2. This will basically be everyone's 11 through 20, but if there's someone who wasn't on the initial Volume 1, it'll be their top 10 songs of all time. Just another excuse to celebrate our favorite songs, talk about why we love them, etc., etc., etc. Also coming up the final week of the month, we are going to do a big Pride celebration stream here on the PJ Campbell Network. Lots of fun stuff is being planned for that, just to get together and celebrate the LGBTQIA plus community and all those wonderful people. Any donations that we get in during that stream will go split between the Trevor Project and the Marsha P. Johnson Center. So if you're feeling generous this month, save up your money for that stream so we can help out those excellent causes. As I mentioned, myself and PJ, and yes, Amber, because she lives there, will be hanging out in Disney World over the next week and a half, starting Friday. Now,
I live at Disney World?
Huh?
I live at Disney World?
You live in Orlando.
No, I don't.
Well, I know where you live. I'm not going to say the name of your city. You live in the vicinity of Orlando.
I live in the precipice of hell. Oh, sorry. Oops.
Well, why don't you leave?
The third gate of hell is welcomes you.
There are other places to live.
Yes.
Normally, if you're a patron, which if you aren't, check it out. Maybe there's a tier that's right for you. We do a monthly AMA. This is normally a live, unlisted stream where people ask us questions live and we answer them. We are going to do it differently this month. Ooh. What we want over the next week, and I'm going to put a post up on the Patreon page after the show goes dark tonight, but you can also tweet us. So even if you're not a patron, send us your questions. Just make it clear that it's a question for the stream. We are going to be doing a June patron AMA, quote unquote, live from Orlando. So send in your questions this week. Me, PJ, Amber, Mike, Deacon, and Bethany will be hanging out, and who knows who else may show up. We'll be answering these questions at various points throughout the trip from various landmarks around Orlando. So, like, maybe we'll be in the fucking fucking lazy river at Volcano Bay, and the question will be like, what are your 3 favorite pizza toppings? And I'll like take out my phone and be like, yo, I'm here in this lazy river, and the answer is blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to spoil it now because maybe that'll be a question. Then we're going to edit it all together. Now, the questions can come from non-patrons because I want as many questions as possible. But if you want the answers, if you bitches and viewers and lovely PJCN heads want the answers, you got to be a patron. Let's talk about our patrons. We have some really wonderfuls. Our executive producer are really wonderful people.
Some wonderfuls.
Some kind of wonderful. Our executive producers, Brandy Parker, Brandon Buckingham, and Ricardo Franco. Our gold producers, Sean Wingblade and Mike Kay. And our producers, Anton Putra, Mama Harris, Chris Pokernoy, Ferris Muthana, Jeff Alterman, a.k.a. Quiz Show, Jake Berlin and Molly Damon from POV. We love POV. Patricia Carrillo, Stephen White, Kelly Youth Critic, and Tyler Birch. And definitely nobody else. Thank you all so much for being fine. Amber Coates. Oh, sorry. Amber Coates.
Cortez.
Amber Cortez. Thank you all so much for your continued support. We couldn't do this without you. Another note, starting in July, we're going to be premiering a new show. It's Always Gunny in Philadelphia, leading up to the release of The Suicide Squad. Each week, myself and PJ are going to do a deep dive into all of the films that James Gunn has either written or directed. This includes stuff like Slither, Super, the Guardians of the Galaxies, yes, the Scooby-Doos, because he wrote the Scooby-Doos. Depending on scheduling, we may do 2 films an episode. That's going to be really, really fun. Also in July, I am hoping that Book Nook and Front Center Mez will return. There's been scheduling stuff. I also know we didn't get to do our water cooler chat this week just due to scheduling. However, on tonight's Unwind, the 3 of us in the second half of the show are going to talk about the premiere of Loki and break it all down. Anything else to plug before we get started on unwinding? No?
Bacon.
I think we got all the plugs.
We do have a Streamlabs also. Streamlabs.com/PJ. I don't know. Brandy, what's the link? If you want to give us some money, if you haven't given all of your money to Ben Goddard this week, he has enough. Give it to us. Send in your comments. Send in your questions. Send in your affirmations and love. Honestly, if you're going to send us money, you can tell us why you hate us too. Now, before we get to the main topic tonight, which is In the Heights, I just wanted to ask, as we always do with the Unwind, what your week in pop culture was like. Did you watch, play, read, do anything else? Listen. Jesse, thank you. Thank you so much for that delicious comment. Would have been even better if you had sent it along with some money. Again, streamlabs.com/PJ-Network/tip. Now, Mr. Handsome Cheese himself, Eric Muller.
Hello.
Did you go to a White Sox game today?
I did not. No, they just won. They swept the Tigers today, so.
Oh, great. Woo. So what was your weekend skewing Loki and In the Heights, because we'll do deep dives into those in a little bit. What else was your pop culture week like?
Well, I celebrated my birthday by finally watching Cruella. I took your guys' great words of advice and watched it and loved it. The movie smashed it out of the park. Oh, so good. And then I finally watched Bo Burnham's special on Netflix, Room. Well, the one where he's just in the room the entire time. That was amazing. And then watched what we're going to be discussing later. And also I catched Infinity on Paramount Plus. And oh boy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't feel sorry for me, because I was like, someone's going to have to watch it. Might as well just be me.
That's fair. Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Mrs. Cortez?
Well, let's see. What did I digest this week? Lots of music. Get out. Why are you like this? I hate you. Anyway, so the things that I did this week. He's gonna be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Are you good? You okay? Oh,
maybe.
Bye. I was like, bye. Let's keep controlling everything at the same time. I was like, I fix my problems, okay? I fix the things I do. Let's see. So obviously, I saw In the Heights twice. I watched. What else did I watch? What else did I do? I watched Thor Ragnarok because I might have participated in a quiz on another.
Which I
network.
think there was a mathematical error, and you were the winner, but whatever.
I might have made a face propagating that specific statement earlier in a study session somewhere. I was like, being a child. I actually does going to a Van Gogh exhibit count? Yeah.
Now, so especially describe what you're going to because I've heard about it. So.
Where did you go to this exhibit and who were you with?
Let's see. So I ended up in New York on a very whirlwind trip with Maxwell Haddad.
What?
We were on camera together this weekend. It's fine. Or this past week because this is the weekend. So we went and did that. I have to say, for anybody who has heard about this experience, it's actually coming here to Orlando soon. If you get to go see this, it is absolutely stunning. It's all projection mapping and music, and then they use mirrors to offset and fragment the paintings. And they take and they've edited everything together very beautifully to where the paintings bleed into each other and bleed out of each other. Hi, PJ.
Get your ass in this show right now, even for a minute, or I'm firing you off your own network, and we're officially becoming the Mahookin for good.
Mahookin.
Dang. Okay. Well, that was rough. But then they give you cushions so you can sit down on the floor, and they put these circles all throughout the exhibit. And there are 3 rooms that you can go into to watch this happen. So the first one has all these mirror bars, and it's really cool. And I liked that room, and I was like, oh, this is neat. But the girl that talked to us at the beginning, because we did the VIP experience, told us that she loved room 3. So we walked into room 2, and there was this cool mirror sculpture or whatever. But then we walked into room 3, and they actually do the projection mapping on the floor too. So then my reasonable response was, I'm going to take my cushion, I'm going to lay down on the floor, and I'm just going to watch this unfold around me. I might have dozed off for a moment because it was just that calming, but it was, and running on no sleep lit. But it was absolutely stunning. It was probably one of the most amazing things I've ever gotten to do. And I'm really, really happy that I got to share it with my best friend who is sitting over there. Hey, what's up? Hi. I also got to, let's see, what else? We almost got to do the Harry Potter thing in New York, the new Harry Potter, what is it, store,
but we didn't get in.
Yeah, we didn't get in because they had closed the line. But then we got to go to a Mets game, so that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. My first real pro baseball game ever, other than a couple of Braves spring training games that I got into for free at Disney. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, we watched some Schmodown matches. We went out to places with people, which was really weird. So, I mean, and I almost finished this book. This one.
By the boat.
By the boat.
Boat.
I also got this at the Strand bookstore, and I'm really excited. I can't wait to read it. Still vainly attempting to read Barack Obama's book.
So yeah, I did all that too.
Oh, yeah.
You did.
The exhibit was pretty spectacular. I'm a huge fan of immersive multimedia experiences, and I love museums. I could spend hours just looking at art, but I also love technology, and I thought it was a gorgeous sort of harmonious amalgamation of art and technology. And if this is where the way we exhibit classic artwork, particularly by noteworthy artists who have, an incredible collection of pieces, it's a really exciting and impressive way to do it. And I also think it's a way that can make art accessible for wider groups of people, because there's a lot of people who unfortunately, don't want to go to museums or find looking at art boring or not something they're interested in. But because of the sheer visual splendor of this, the immersion, the music, the video and projection mapping, the way really, like, what I recommend is if you get to go, just pick a room, sit down, and just soak it all in. Like, we sat there for about an hour and just sort of let it wash over you. You get the full mood of it. It's a great way to experience art in a way that I think takes it to a whole other level that can make someone who maybe isn't an art appreciation expert really find new things to love. And they didn't quite animate Van Gogh's classic paintings, but they did use certain transitions and movement that sort of in certain ones made you feel like you were in the painting. And the selection of music, which was a combination of, notable classical pieces and electronic music. Honestly, like, it was the closest you could feel to being stoned without being stoned. Not that I know what it's like to feel stoned. I've never done drugs. But I have to imagine this is what it would be like to feel stoned. So yeah, if you do get to go, whether in New York or if it travels to other cities, which it is, highly recommended. I've also been watching the Freeform show Cruel Summer, which I'm really enjoying. It takes place in the 90s in Texas, and there's a girl that's missing, and there's a mystery, and it also co-stars Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, who is really evolving into quite an exciting young actress. I know it was easy when she was cast in his films to be skeptical and blame nepotism. Not that nepotism is always a bad thing. Look, some very, very talented actors and filmmakers, got their start because of nepotism, but then proved their own worth, like, say, Sofia Coppola, for example. But I really like her in this show. She's still playing, sort of the quirky, alternative best friend type character, but it's a really dark, fun show. I think the finale is airing this week, and I'm excited to see how it all wraps up. The episodes are on Hulu if you haven't watched it. And been enjoying a little of season 2 of Mythic Quest also. I'm not fully caught up yet, but I really, really love that show. This person that I'm sort of like iffy about, but sometimes gives me good advice, is like, you should watch Mythic Quest. And so I did, and it's really a great, great show.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we have been watching Mythic Quest.
I wonder who that person could be. It's a mystery.
It's a me, a Mario.
Wah.
So yeah, let's dive into In the Heights. So In the Heights is a brand new film adaptation of the Broadway musical from 2008, which won the Tony Award for Best Musical, won Best Score, won a couple other awards. For those who aren't familiar, In the Heights started as Lin-Manuel Miranda's master's thesis at his senior project, whatever, at Wesleyan University. When he came to New York and he was in his rap group Freestyle Love Supreme, he started performing one-act versions of it in the basement of the Drama Bookshop, which, as an aside, closed about 2 years ago because they couldn't afford the rent anymore. The Drama Bookshop just reopened this week in a new location, and Lin-Manuel himself and Jeffrey Sellers, one of the producers of Hamilton, are the owners of the new location. I have not had a chance yet to go check it out, but because that space was so foundational to Lin's career and his art, I love that he found himself in a position to save it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then In the Heights played off-Broadway and then Broadway. The film rights for a long time were owned by the Weinstein Company. So there was a couple year-long battle for Lin to get the rights back for obvious reasons. And now we find ourselves with this film in the world. It was supposed to come out last year. It got pushed a year from COVID. Directed by John M. Chu, with the screenplay by the book writer of the musical. Look, there's no two ways about it for me. I was a huge fan of In the Heights from the get-go. I saw the show on Broadway in July of 2008. This was just a few months after it opened, a couple weeks after it won the Tony for Best Musical. It's no secret that I am a huge theater lover. I produce theater for a living. In the Heights is in my top 5 favorite musicals of all time. I saw it literally a dozen times on Broadway, including one of my fondest and most emotional theater going experiences ever, being at the final closing performance on Broadway, which was both electric and bittersweet, and the entire room was sobbing because, as tends to be the case at a closing performance, when the final curtain closes, although In the Heights didn't have a curtain, but metaphorically, when the bows are done, the cast and crew, and especially Lynn, came out and gave a speech that he could not make it through without crying. So this work of art has had a huge place in my heart for a long, long time. I've listened to the Broadway cast recording arguably as much as any other album of any kind I've ever heard. So when someone has this attachment to something and there's going to be an adaptation, there are two ways to look at it. You know, some people may say, well, you're an easy target and you're going to love it no matter what. But on the flip side, because you love it so much, you may be the hardest critic.
Right, you have a higher level of expectations.
You have a higher level of expectations. And the reality is, for this movie, I happen to be a fan of John M. Chu. I think Crazy Rich Asians is great. And I am also an unabashed, unironic fan of Step Up to the Streets and Step Up 3D, which I think have some of the best filmed dance numbers ever. You know, John M. Chu got his start working with dance groups in LA, filming videos for them. So if you haven't seen those movies, for the dance sequences alone, they're great. So my expectations for this movie were through the roof, and it surpassed them. I've seen it twice in theaters. I'm going again on Tuesday, and that probably won't be the last time. And if you know me, this is not a word I use often, but I genuinely think this movie's a masterpiece. It is not an exact slavish recreation of the musical, which I think too many adaptations of stage shows try to do. In fact, yeah, go ahead.
Well, because I was going to interject, because I was there and I watched your reactions to it. Guys, listen, I had never seen the musical. I had only heard, I'd never seen the play. So I haven't seen a pro shot or anything. I knew the bones, like I knew the book, generally speaking, what you could grasp from reading a Wikipedia article. And I knew 3 of the songs. And I watched Maxwell's face for most of the movie, because obviously I wanted to digest it myself. I have never seen anybody so in awe of anything that they were watching on screen. Like his literal reactions. Like there's one perfect scene, and it's now my personal favorite song in the movie, primarily because there's a moment where I don't think it could have been captured on stage the way that they captured it in the movie. And there's this moment where fabric falls from the sky, and he's just sitting there like hand over his mouth. I could see tears in his eyes. I was like, this is a moment. This is the moment that, and I literally was just like, okay. And I got chills because I could feel all of his reactions coming off of him. And I was like, this is fucking phenomenal. So yeah, did that help?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just better to hear it from somebody who watched you react than, like, cause I saw the whole thing. And it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, and we'll get into more of it as we go on, but it's not a direct adaptation of the play. There are some changes to the dramatic bones of it, and it's the rare time where I actually think the changes that were made improve the story. Certain arcs of characters are shifted or more fleshed out in ways that I think make the themes of love of community, love of place, love of culture, even deeper and richer. Particularly and I saw a tweet that I sort of, and by the way, viewers, we're going to get into spoiler territory here. I would argue this is not a movie that really can be spoiled. It's not like a Marvel movie or something where there's twists and turns, but we're going to talk full on, about everything that happens. So the movie uses a framing device where it's Usnavi, the main character, played brilliantly by Anthony Ramos, is sort of regaling 4 children on a beach of this story. And there is a reveal at the end as to who one of those kids is and where he's actually telling the story from, that I thought was simply breathtaking in its construction as a bookend device to frame the story. The other major change that I thought was incredible, the number Paciencia Fe, which has always been one of my favorite songs in the show. Some may say one of the emotional high points, sung by Abuela Claudia, who is played by Olga Mercedes, who is the only performer in the movie who's playing the same role that they played on the original Broadway cast. In fact, she was Tony nominated for her performance on Broadway. And what's amazing is she is only 65 now and is clearly playing a character much older than that. So in 2008, when she first did this, she was in her early 50s playing, a woman in her 80s. So between the hair and her physicality, she's a brilliant performer. The way they shift. Yes, Dana, there are spoilers. I'm sorry. I said that at the top. If you don't want to be spoiled,
I already advised him and he was like, okay, I'm going to leave for now. I was like, okay, perfect.
The way that they decided to shift the impact of Abuela's number Paciencia Fe to have a slightly different meaning, I think is maybe the smartest choice in the film. I won't say any more. I'll keep some things to be viewed, because that is the one spoiler that I think is best not known. But I was sobbing, and I think, there's always an argument or a discussion about how you can make conscious decisions when telling a story on film versus on stage when you have more visual tools at your disposal. And clearly John M. Chu went wild with his visual tools. Amber mentioned the drapes of fabric. There's the incredible number towards the end where Benny and Nina are dancing on the side of the building, which
that was my favorite.
Frankly,
God.
I would say that dance number is up there with Singing in the Rain,
right? Because I got the old MGM musical feel watching that. That was like a better La La Land than La La Land was trying to do, trying to capture that moment.
There we are. It's a better La La Land than La La Land.
But specifically the Paciencia Fe number, the way it used the subway car and the subway stations and the poles and the lighting and the steps.
Oh yeah,
is utter genius.
You can't come back from that. At that moment, you're just like, this is such a beautiful way to take on this specific message. And it was so unique and so bright and colorful. And the juxtaposition between shadow and light. Oh my God. I can die happy. It's fine. We're good.
I'm glad, Eric, you said the classic Hollywood MGM musicals, because look, no secret, I fucking love musicals. In my top 10 favorite movies of all time, I think 4 or 5, half of them are musicals. And there's been many great musicals recently that I like very much, but we have definitely strayed away from the classic style of musical. And while the type of music and the story this is telling is more modern, it uses rap and salsa and merengue and other stuff. The way this film is made, the choreography, the use of color and lighting, the cinematography, the framing is the size of the ensemble. The 96,000 number in the pool. Yes. I mean, that's the closest we've gotten to a Busby Berkeley musical number other than Hail Caesar, which was a direct homage in 80 years, 70 years.
And I would just like to point out that we almost didn't get that scene, FYI.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we can't fill this entire pool with people. And John Chu was like, yes, you can. Please make it happen. Find the rest of the extras and put them in the pool.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so,
yay.
Through and through in this movie's DNA is that classic Hollywood grandiose musical, the likes of which we just don't get anymore. And then you just add every other element to it. Every performer is brilliant. Anthony Ramos is great. Olga Mercedes. Corey Hawkins blew me away. I'm a huge Chris Jackson fan. Chris Jackson performed at an event of mine I don't really want to get deeper into, but I love that man. So, and Benny was always one of my favorite characters, so I was super skeptical, and Corey Hawkins knocked it out of the park. Both of the unknown young actresses they found to play Vanessa and Nina are great. Jimmy Smits is amazing. The kid who plays Sonny, Gregory Diaz the fourth, just incredible. Stephanie Beatriz playing so against type from her performance in Brooklyn, or character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Just every single Dasha, And by the way, her ass and those outfits they put her in is an incredible special effect. Like, thank you to the costume
It ain't
designer.
even a special effect.
I know. Even Amber turned to me and was like, "Look at her ass in those pants." I was like, "Girl."
When she bends over at the dinner scene, I'm just like,
"You're like, you could bounce a quarter off that ass."
Standing give it to me now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm gonna let someone else go talk because I feel like I've been talking a while, but that is just, the tip of the iceberg of how madly, deeply in love with this movie I am. I can't remember the last time I so thoroughly loved a movie this much, especially for something where my expectations were this high, and it delivered on every front and then some.
Thus far, everybody that I've spoken to who had seen the original, like the Broadway musical, has been like, this completely killed. Like all the trash takes I've seen are people who have no idea what they're talking about. I'm pretty sure. Like, and there are trash takes, of course, because there's always trash takes because the internet is a dumpster fire. Oops.
My friend Blue, who I actually saw it on Broadway with on multiple occasions, texted me earlier. Okay, so I just saw Heights, amazing, and I can't wait to see it again with you and again and again. Fucking genius. I've never agreed with adaptation changes as much as I have with this movie. They put a lot more into the book and their individual journeys. Each character had a true beginning, middle, and end, and fleshed out background, wants, and needs. So
I would go ahead and say that
Blue has a degree in dramaturgy and theater, so he knows his shit.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and say that probably my favorite actor, like a breakout actress in this, was Melissa Barrera. She was the one who played Vanessa. Yeah. And good Lord, that girl, when she first comes into the picture and is singing, and I'm like, that is my queen right there. And I just taken with her from the moment she steps into this frame. And I'm like,
that's how you steal the scene.
This is the type of movie that if you aren't already openly or aware of your pansexuality or bisexuality, this movie could do it to you.
Yeah, it did. And there's so much imagery. They just literally hit the ball out of the park. And honestly, my favorite scene is I have a lot of favorite scenes. Honestly, the whole movie is like a favorite scene. But one of my favorite scenes that just knocked it out of the park for me because it was so tongue-in-cheek and meta was Piragua. I was just dead. I'm like, shit's happening. It is happening right now. And it's two beautiful people making it happen. And there's just nothing like it. And then at the very end, they brought it back. And I'm like,
yeah, there is an after credit scene. If you watched the movie and didn't stick around, or you watch on HBO Max, you can easily fast forward for the end credit scene.
Oh yeah.
And the end credit scene is a reprise of a number that was on the stage musical, and it's something they easily could have cut. It has no narrative impact, which is why it's a perfectly placed end credit tag because it's hilarious.
It is so perfect, and gosh, as somebody who understood the two players in the scene, and then wow, that Leslie Grace, Nina, it was her first movie ever, says Brandy. Holy crap. She's delightful too. Whenever she was like, I just want to listen to my block, and closed her eyes and leaned somewhere, I was just like, I feel that. Breathe. Oh my God. Such a beautiful song, and she killed it.
You mentioned Melissa Barrera. I think she's going to be a star. So she's in the new upcoming Scream movie.
Yes.
I don't know how big her part is. But she's also starring in a modern day retelling of the classical opera Carmen as Carmen with Elsa Pataki and Paul Mescal, which I'm super excited for. I already was interested, but now seeing what Melissa is capable of, I legitimately think this actress is a superstar. And they had big shoes to fill because on the Broadway original company, Vanessa was played by Karen Olivo, who went on to win a Tony for West Side Story and stars in Moulin Rouge. And she starred in Hamilton in Chicago. And Nina was played by Mandy Gonzalez, who would go on to play Elphaba in Wicked.
A lot of things.
Star in Hamilton, be on TV, etc. So these are, iconic roles that they and there was a part of me who, when they said they were making this movie, I was like, well, Vanessa Hudgens is going to play Vanessa, right? Because Anthony Ramos and Vanessa Hudgens did do In the Heights on stage in DC a couple years ago. So for Anthony Ramos, that was basically his audition for the movie. And I remember Lynn saying in an interview, like, obviously I wrote In the Heights in college. I wrote it for me to star in it. But although I didn't realize it at the time, I really wrote the role of Usnavi for Anthony Ramos to play. He was like, he brought something out of the role that I never could. So when I heard that, I was like, it would make sense to cast Vanessa Hudgens. You have, an actress of note. But going with unknowns for these two, basically the whole cast, there's a few faces you recognize. Jimmy Smits, Corey Hawkins did Straight Outta Compton and Kong Skull Island in that 24 TV show. But generally speaking, they're relative unknowns. And that brings like a level of authenticity to it because it is about this community. It is about a very specific place. And so you're not like, oh, well, that's, that girl from High School Musical or whatever.
Or I feel that's like a sense of freshness, it's something new, something that you haven't seen. So that way, again, doesn't help put in those predetermined expectations. So it's like, well, it's Vanessa Hudgens in this. I know what to expect out of her. But when you get somebody who you don't know, they get a chance to, again, like when she first walks into the scene, Vanessa, when she first walks into the movie, steals the spotlight. This is her. And knocks it out of the park.
It's like a Star is Born kind of moment. Yeah. I don't want to make this too much of a competition, but there was a movie that I kept thinking about as I was running over In the Heights in my head, and that was Rent. Rent was a hugely influential and seminal musical, and I've heard the argument made before that what In the Heights represented at the time for musical theater was very similar to what Rent represented in the mid-90s in its use of a type of music that wasn't, as frequently seen on stage, that was taken seriously, that was about a specific community, that was about people of a certain age, et cetera, et cetera. To me, In the Heights is a shining example of how to make this type of movie, this type of adaptation, and Rent is the opposite of that. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely elements of the Rent movie I like. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but I think having the original Broadway cast in their 40s play characters who are supposed to be in their 20s, and then hiring a director who is not a terrible director, but has no sense of musical acumen and no sense of New York or how to film it. They are like the opposite ends of the spectrum of how to do this the right way and the wrong way. Like, I could have seen a version of this where Warner Brothers was like, yeah, we'll make the In the Heights movie, but only if it's Lynn playing Usnavi, Chris Jackson playing Benny, Robin DeJesus playing Sonny, because Chris and Lynn are, decently sizable stars now. And while that might have been a good movie, it wouldn't have landed the same way when you're seeing these dudes in their 40s play 20-somethings figuring their shit out in Washington Heights.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
Would not have had the same impact.
But they're perfect where they are.
No, right. I love that they're in the movie, and it's so clever how they're used.
Yes, I thought so too.
But it also does make there is another relatively major adaptation of a popular Broadway musical coming out later this year that I'm very curious to see how it lands, and that's Dear Evan Hansen. So that's going to be an interesting note to compare, because obviously the rest of the cast is different, but Ben Platt is reprising his role.
See, like, I could buy Ben Platt being a high schooler. I can't buy Ben's hair being a high schooler.
Well, and there's the other thing, like, the suspension of disbelief on stage versus on film is very different. Yes. Like, I would argue that anyone could play any age on stage because there is no fourth wall and you just buy what you're seeing. But when you're watching a film, generally speaking, age matters. Like, sure. Like, when you watch like WB, CW TV shows, you're always getting 25 or 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. That's fine. But when you're trying to make a serious musical drama about mental illness and suicide, you want someone who's going to read the right age for the role. Same with Rent. When you're making a serious rock musical about people dealing with the AIDS crisis and struggling financially, it's important that they read the right age and not 45 fucking years old, still living in a loft they're not paying for, lighting old scripts for heat.
I mean, there are some people in places that are 45 years old still living in a room that they're not paying for. I may or may not know people of that breed.
But all of a sudden, my interest and empathy for them singing about it lessens.
Like, oh, you're older? Never mind. I'm not sorry for you.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not emotionally invested anymore. I said good day.
Oh,
good day, sir.
Good day, sir. But yeah, no, like, I'm intrigued by seeing it, and there's this thing about Ben Platt where like he literally used to snot on the audience during words fail, and I really want to see that broken down because like he literally, I think there was an interview that he did where he was like, I am so sorry, I apologize at the stage door to anybody who I saw in the front because they're basically covered in me. And I was like, whoa, gross. But I mean,
the only stage actor I've ever seen who snots on the audience as much as Ben Platt is Jonathan Groff.
I was about to say Groff sauce. I was like, it has to be Jonathan Groff. I mean, we all saw the spit heard around the world in the Hamilton.
So even like back in the day when I was seeing Spring Awakening like once a week, and particularly because in Spring Awakening, there were seats you could buy and sit on stage, but the stage for Spring Awakening was low. It wasn't very high like some shows are. So if you were in the front row, motherfucker, you needed a poncho or you're getting covered in Groff.
You're getting wet.
Yeah, it's like
and
caution.
not in a good way.
It's like caution. You may get soaked.
Oh
this
goodness.
is Rips Off Falls right here, folks.
Oh, speaking of which, we're taking PJ on that.
I feel like we should answer a question on Rips Off Falls.
No, like, so things that we need to do while we're on this vacation, we need to make sure we have like cameras out and protected at different points so that we can get the full visceral reactions on rides of the three of us idiots and then do a pro cut.
I almost feel like we should acquire a new GoPro.
GoPro.
Do you think it can be delivered within a couple days? And do you want to deliver it to you or to me? Like, where do you want it to go?
Yeah,
I already have one, but yes, new.
The answer is yes.
No.
Well, it should probably go to you because it's in Orlando.
That way he doesn't have to pack it?
Yeah.
But then I have to pack it.
Then you don't have to take it on an airplane.
Right.
That's true. Although I was the crazy person that had an entire bag of a Hudson News bag full of snacks, including but not limited to cookies from the milk bar, 2 entire bags of Zapp's chips. Like we're talking a lot of stuff went in that bag. And I was the crazy person who was just like, it's fine, I need snacks. And I'm like pulling whole things out of it, just like.
Oh, thanks, AJ.
In my mouth.
Really appreciate it. And yeah, like Jesse said, if you're here watching, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell. So, my God.
Ding.
So
listen, Brandy said, send the GoPro to her, then send her to Orlando.
Brandy, here's the deal. And I say this with all sincerity. And to everyone else who's watching live or on replay, this offer extends only to Brandy. If you want, Brandy, I will legitimately buy you plane tickets to come to Orlando for a few days next week. Just text me and let me know. I am dead serious. So.
We will have the space.
Yes, we will.
Yep.
So send me a text if you want to come. That's what she said.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
So what other, Eric, Amber, what other elements of In the Heights do you want to talk about or highlight before we move on to Loki?
I was going to say, I went in blind on this. I had no idea what In the Heights was about. I didn't listen to the original soundtrack. I even asked my friends, I was like, hey, I'm going to watch this. What should I do? And everyone's like, just go in not knowing anything. And for me, I think that was a great experience because I just got to be so immersed in this world of, all the Washington Heights. And I just loved everything about it. I think even one of my favorite things about that film, it's a little sequence in 96,000 where it starts off and they're using the CGI to talk about you're a Pinocchio, I'm Obi-Wan and stuff like that. I just loved how that was all done. I thought it was so clever, looked so clean and so crisp. I just love that whole thing. But yeah, my favorite song in the whole sequence is probably still When the Sun Goes Down at the end. I just
so pretty.
Right?
Oh my god! Thinking about it just takes my breath away. Like the entire movie is just absolutely freaking stunning. I can't help it. I loved it. It was phenomenal.
And it nailed the finale. I mean, it's
truly
it's a movie about community and joy, and you actually get to experience that. And after the past 15, 16 months, however you want to view it, it's nice to have something like this out there.
It won't be long now is probably, like I said, my favorite song in the entire thing. And I mean, and it's just because it resonates with me. Like it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And then she's running in the street with all these bolts of fabric falling. And I'm just like, is this happening to me right now? This is happening to me right now. And then I watched it again last night on HBO Max. And like on your TV in your living room. Okay. I don't have surround sound. I just have, it's a nice
Well,
TV.
that's how I watched it.
Well, right. And like, it's still hit. It still resonates. It still like hits you right in the face. But that last shot, and I'm not going to say what exactly happens, but that last shot where they're partying in the streets and he picks her up and she looks right into the camera. I was like, you couldn't have done better than that. Like done, scene, tap. Yeah. And then of course they hit you with like a post shot. And I'm like,
no, someone posted a GIF of that on Twitter. I was just like,
Right. I saw that and I was like, yes, give it to me now. I needed to see it. I needed to watch it. Like, so I literally like flipped my HBO Prime off and turned on HBO Max, and now I have that. So I'm like, awesome. Let's just watch this. Perfect. Happy days are here again. I can watch it all day. It's fine.
Like, I want to sign off and watch it right now.
Oh yeah. Bye guys. We're just gonna go watch In the Heights. See you later. Goodbye.
You know what we should do? Okay, I'm making an executive decision right now.
Do it.
Sometime this month, we're gonna do a watch along of In the Heights.
Let's do it.
I don't see why not. It's on HBO Max. We're gonna do a watch along. Done.
It's happening.
It's all happening. Sorry. Also, I want to shout out Christopher Scott, who did the choreography for this film. Incredible choreography. And as I was sort of mentioning, like arguably the biggest ensemble of dancers we've seen in a film in a very long time.
Oh yeah.
Both the opening number and 96,000 in particular. And not a single person is out of step. It is just...
It's absolutely amazing.
Stunning.
By the way, I accidentally almost played your favorite song in the show, like the movie. But I turned off my volume on my phone and I was like, no, I didn't mean to do that. Benny's Dispatch. So yeah.
I love Benny's Dispatch just because I don't know. It like... I know every word, and I've sung it like for over a decade now. The GoPro has been shipped to your house. It's arriving Wednesday.
Oh goodness. Okay, perfect. Yay. Is Brandy being shipped to my house too?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't think she'd be shipped to your house. I think she'd be shipped to MCO.
Does that mean I have to go pick her up?
I mean, maybe.
Oh yay! I am literally like.
Stay tuned and find out.
Hello, my name's Amber, and I'm your airport shuttle. It's Disney's not Magical Express.
I was going to say, I like it better than the Magical Express, although you need to fix your speakers.
This is not my fault. It is an older car. It has been having issues since then, and everything else about the car is pretty decent. So, also, do you want to... Never mind.
So let's talk about the first episode of Loki. So what'd you think of Loki, Eric?
I knew within the first 15 minutes that a lot of my friends, comic book loving friends, sci-fi loving fans, all of them, even my wife, I knew I was going to hear the same comment coming out of all of their mouths and social media that this is their new favorite MCU show because it was phenomenal. It's a 1970s sci-fi TV show told in the modern day, and I loved it.
I loved it.
I love the color. I love the score. Everyone's performance is great. I love the mystery that we're getting. I can go into more details later, especially about my favorite shot in that first episode. But what we are getting from Disney with Loki Chef's kiss. Mwah.
Can you make that face again? What was that?
Which one?
No, Maxwell. He goes. I was like, what happened? He's like,
stay tuned to find out.
I
received a really stupid message from someone I'm sort of fighting with right now. It has nothing to do with the show. Sorry for airing my grievances live on air. This is not Festivus.
Are you broken up and fighting? What's happening?
Yes. Yes. I agree. I am not prepared to say this is my favorite thing because I think
I'm not ready to say that either.
WandaVision was spectacular, and I'm such a big fan. But I was definitely more mixed on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought it was fine, not great, and this already is this as a pilot is incredibly strong. The visual style, the mystery. Hiddleston and Owen Wilson have incredible buddy cop comedy, which is weird. And they've been in a movie together before. They were in Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris together, where they had some nice scenes together. But Loki is one of the best characters in the MCU. Hiddleston is an incredible performer, and what's so interesting about this show is we're seeing a different version of Loki than we saw in Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War and Endgame. But he gets to see things that happen to him in those timelines. And his reactions to that were kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. I remember I watched it twice. I remember the first time it was a little early in the morning. I was, still getting up. And I was just like, man, what is this? I was feeling it, but the second time around, I was just like, oh yeah. Because again, it's one of those things where you remember in the movie Big Fish, where he goes to the witch. He's like, I just want to see how I'm gonna die, because gives him this peace of mind. Loki did not want that, and unfortunately, to quote Thanos and Iron Man and everyone else in the Iron Man in the MCU, he was just cursed with knowledge in wisdom that he didn't want.
I'm pulling something up that I saw on Twitter earlier that I love, and it said this should be the logo for. We're now in Phase 4 of the MCU post Endgame. Mm-hmm. This should be the logo. Because a lot of shit has happened in the MCU in the first 3 phases. Obviously, the fallout from the blip continues to show its impact, and the various deaths that occurred in Endgame. And Far From Home, and then especially WandaVision, and even to a certain extent Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki, are still very much working in the superhero idiom. You still have special effects and fights and mystery and all of this sci-fi stuff, but it is diving into these character moments that really you have the benefit of 20 plus movies worth of storytelling to use to deal with these moments. And that's
I also like the meme that's going around that says Disney Plus, we should have gone to therapy instead. They gave us a TV show, and it has all Loki, Wanda, Bucky.
Yeah, that one was a good one. No joke, the moment in the Miss Minutes trailer where it said where you got multiverse and madness, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, multiverse of madness, I hear you, oh my gosh. And then I was like, wait a second, you're the one who thought Mephisto was showing up the entirety of WandaVision. You need to calm down, woman.
So
calm down.
Speaking of Miss Minutes, I am highly considering purchasing this item. I'm going to share my screen just for a second. If you go over to the Her Universe website, you can acquire a Miss Minutes wall clock for the low price of $39.90. And I really feel like this is something that would really liven up my home.
Good gracious.
What a delightful thing.
She was delightful and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. And look, let's be a little cautious here. And this happens with all nerdy mystery boxy fan stuff. Like one of the things that happened with WandaVision, and we here on the Pajukin were as guilty. Like we over theorized, right? And when you over theorize about something, you can create your own expectations that end up disappointing yourself. That didn't happen for me with WandaVision. Things didn't necessarily go how I thought they would, but it didn't disappoint me. I still absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
I'm here.
But I would just say, as Loki unfolds week by week, which thank God it's week by week, I love it. Let's just take the ride for what it is. You know, when we start doing the water cooler chat in earnest over the next few weeks on Thursday nights, I'm sure we will dive deep into it. I know Eric knows a lot about comics. Dwayne, who I'm sure will appear on some of the shows, is a big Marvel head. If Jake Berlin guests as he did on some other episodes, these are people who know a ton about comics. So when there are references made and there's lore discussed, there will be deep dives, but just take each episode for what it is. Like at this juncture, I have no idea where the show is going to go.
Near do I.
I don't know what the, no pun intended, I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the arc is going to be. I don't know where it's heading towards. But what I do hope is, I think honestly my favorite part of the episode was the DB Cooper flashback.
I love that too.
It
was just a bet with Thor.
Right. The fact that they revealed that Loki was DB Cooper in the MCU. The fact that, like, when we first saw this scene in the trailer, I figured it was happening in present time and not a flashback. The fact that it was a flashback. The fact that Tom Hiddleston looked like cast him as James Bond suave in that suit. Delightful. So, you know, Loki's been alive for thousands of years. Like, I hope in every episode we get a different flashback to some absurd, ridiculous thing Loki did, just so we could see Tom Hiddleston playing dress up and doing different things and being awesome.
Oh, I would love that, because I mean, he is the god of mischief, so give him opportunities to commit mischief.
Like, it makes perfect sense that the god of mischief was fucking DB Cooper. Like, they should do an episode where he knows where Jimmy Hoffa's body is. Like, there's all sorts of...
Or revealed he was Jimmy Hoffa.
Or he knows what happened on the stairwell.
Right.
Oh my God.
Maybe it was the owl. I don't know.
So can we talk about all the Infinity Stones that were in the drawer?
Yeah.
Like
well, they don't matter anymore.
That blew my mind. I was like, did you just make them into nothings? Like, what, guys?
He had the same reaction as Loki did.
I was like, and he's just like holding the Tesseract, like.
I mean, I love that scene because it's just showing Loki. Because again, we're going from Loki in the first Avengers movie, who. I'm still not sure if he knew or not if he had an Infinity Stone inside that staff. Like he knows you need the Infinity Stones if you want ultimate power in this universe. And all of a sudden, here's this time variance agency saying, "No, bleep all of that. These are just paperweights."
Yeah, that's the important thing to remember. The Loki that we're seeing in this episode is the Loki from the Avengers. So the events of the first Thor happened, and the events of the Avengers happened, but nothing else. Thor: The Dark World hasn't happened. Infinity War and Endgame haven't happened. Ragnarok haven't happened to this Loki because of branching timelines. Obviously,
and then he got to see it all.
And then he got to see it all, which is such a great scene. I mean.
Well, him and Owen Wilson just had that great sequence where they're talking about, you know, his mother's death. And he's just like, do you really like what you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it like that scene, watching his face, watching him react to everything that's happening, watching him react to Frigga dying, watching him react to like all these moments that he had not experienced himself because he's a variant, but and then watching him die, taking that Loki who was burdened with glorious purpose, who came out of the end of the Avengers, like thinking of Loki in the Avengers, he was way more high on himself than he was by the time by the time Thor Ragnarok ended and Infinity War began. So to see that iteration of Loki be confronted with the truth of the next couple of years of his life
Yeah.
It was astounding. It literally, I don't know, it was a simple scene, and I was really hoping, I'm like, are they going to go there? And they did go there, and I'm very happy that they did, because they confront you with this barrage of emotions all at once, and they really just hit you and pull those heartstrings and mess with it. Yeah, yes, sorry. Gamora is a time variant, as well as because of 2014 Gamora and Endgame. Yes. And it's interesting, because now I think going on, we're going to see more, I guess more iterations of these variants from what the Avengers did. And I think it's a very interesting plot point to introduce into the actual MCU.
Yeah, so after WandaVision, there was some talk if we were going to see oh my God, Jimmy Woo sort of take on the new Coulson mantle and sort of appear in different Marvel things. But I almost feel like Owen Wilson could fit that role to a certain extent if we continue to see more time variants, because Brian does bring up a great point. Gamora is a time variant. We have to assume that at least some element of the narrative of Guardians Volume 3 will be Gamora based. So whether or not Owen Wilson is in it, you have to assume the time variant agency will be involved to some extent. The MCU doesn't introduce things like this without having them come back in later. Like, it's not perfect, but Kevin Feige generally has a pretty concrete plan of how things are going to unfold.
Yep.
That's true. I mean, it's just a really amazing series thus far. I still, obviously, I'm a huge stan for WandaVision. I think it's absolutely lovely what they did with the show, and what they did with grief and PTSD and things that come from those kinds of huge traumas, because basically they're showing that Wanda's life has been just one trauma after the other, continually the same way through. And yet another thing that I resonate with, because there was a long time where it was like one thing after the other, and every time I would get up and brush myself off, it was another 5 or 6 things, and I'm like, well, fuck me then. So I kind of understand, and at times I feel emotion very deeply at times, so I can completely understand that moment when her emotions got her so badly that outside of her own control, really, she created an entire hex where she could have exactly what she wanted, the way that she wanted it, even though it wasn't real. So I completely get that. Moving into Loki, though, I see so much that they can do with this, because it's the redemption of an anti-hero. And in his deepest villain phase, which is kind of something fun that they can do with this. And I know that they're gonna throw so many more amazing things in there that are gonna just blow your mind. So I'm waiting. I'm ready, and I'm waiting. Like, if it's anything like that moment in, what was it, episode 8 of WandaVision, where you see her create the hex, and at the end, like the piece of the the piece of the Mind Stone comes out and it becomes Vision, and she's standing there in black and white. Yeah, it's amazing. Dana, if you pay attention to set pictures, Lady Loki is coming.
Yep, it's happening.
Do we know how many episodes there are going to be?
6.
Oh, it's only 6? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think WandaVision was the only one that they decided to do in 9 episodes, and it was like, they really went for like the whole 30-minute thing.
Well, I think WandaVision was also concretely designed to be a miniseries. Whereas, obviously I think we're going to get another season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I don't know how Loki's going to end, but it's definitely something that I feel like...
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen's already said there's not going to be another season of WandaVision.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, theoretically, like, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to, in its own way, be season 2 of WandaVision.
Right.
Whereas Loki, depending on how it ends, I think could, have multiple seasons. So.
But yeah, 2 things that really quickly I want to go over about this episode.
Yeah.
The background shot, my favorite shot, when Owen Wilson and Loki are talking, and like he's looking out, he's actually looking inside the time variance. And he goes, I didn't think magic was allowed here. And he's looking out and you see like this beautiful background that they're all looking at. Shout out to them for making a Jack Kirby image right there. So shout out to the man, Jack Kirby, the guy who helped created so many of the characters we love right now. Just paying homage to his art right there. That was amazing. And then my little Easter egg hunting. If you pay attention to, I know they're not officially Time Lords, but the 3 creators of the timeline, one of them looks shockingly a lot like Jonathan Majors, who's going to be playing King the Conqueror in the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, Quantumania. So nice setting up there, Marvel. I see you.
Yeah, that's totally a thing. Did you see that on Screen Crush?
No, I picked that up the first time I watched it.
Oh, dope. Because I saw it on Screen Crush and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's a thing. Whoa.
Yeah, I watched it. I was like, oh, that's him. Oh, they're doing it.
It's absolutely amazing. I literally I live for MCU releases. That's really the world that my entire brain is in. Like, is there a new thing from the MCU right now? No? Okay, then I can go on with my life. So knowing, I didn't even really understand when Loki was starting because things have been so hectic around here. But then when I was like, yes, let's do this. Because Loki has always been one of my favorites. But
I loved when they moved it up from Fridays to Wednesdays. Perfect.
I'm also ready for Black Widow. So ready. My ticket is in my entourage. Yep. Thank you. Yep.
I already have a ticket as well.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm not sure who I'm going to see it with, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, I know who I'm going to see it with.
I know who I'm seeing it with.
I did say that my ticket was already in my entourage because somebody got the ticket and put it in my entourage. That guy over there.
Oh. All right. Well, is there anything else you lovely people wanted to touch on about Loki before we end our show for the evening?
Not everything's going to be Mephisto. Let's just put that nail in the coffin right now.
Fairly true. That's fairly freaking true.
Yeah. Anything else, Amber?
No, I think I'm good.
Awesome.
Did you want to play the credits 3 more times?
Maybe. Well, we should do our sign-offs and instead of playing the credits 3 more times, I'll let you give your plugs, which takes about as long as playing the credits 3 times done. But first, Eric, where can everyone find you online? What do you have going on?
You can find me on Twitter at handsome_cheese. I just did 3 mini reviews for 3 movies I saw. So you can check me out there. You can also see me here on the Pajunkin. Once Handsome Dan figures out his new work schedule, we will get back into doing Ramble On about movies on a regular time.
Indeed. I'll let Amber go last. You can find me on Twitter at Cinemaxwell, Instagram Cinemaxwell Inc. Of course, you can find me here on the PJ Campbell Network. You can find me competing in the First Class League. If you didn't see my match,
dominating the First League.
We'll see. It's still up on Twitch, and then it'll be on the Schmud on Extras YouTube, and who knows? I may or may not play other matches. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm now a mod over at Video Drews Network, so come watch Live in the Dark tonight at midnight Eastern with a very special guest, Nacho Vigalondo, who directed the movie Time Crimes and some other movies. Super dope filmmaker. Be sure to check that out. Amber?
No respect at all. Put some respect on my name, Maxwell.
Amber.
Anyway, thank you. Let's see. So I'm Takara Kanashi on Twitter, Instagram, Stereo, Letterboxd, and Twitch. There it is. See, Takara Kanashi. If you're Ben Goddard, I'm Carrot Cake. To Carrot Cake Nashi. Yeah, or if your favorite some teriyaki chicken. I'm over on the Let's Get Ready Network doing the gold standard on Tuesdays, talking about the FCL, talking to some FCL competitors. I don't know. This guy might have been on my show last week. Doing LGR reviews, Loki, and doing the Night Sisters eventually with Bedore and Adelia. I'm here on the PJ Campbell Network doing this stuff. And I'm also... Did you want me to do the freaking plugs, or did you just want to put a banner up?
Why not both?
Why not both? Continue. We don't have all night.
Craig Ferguson, what else are you going to be plugging?
Plug.
Plug.
You know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a mod over at Video Drew's YouTube and Discord. I'm a producer for a couple of her shows. I do things. Yay.
Yay. Stinker.
Please leave this office.
Do we get any sort of souvenir?
Get out of my office!
I'll be back.
I gotta pay.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Heavy is the head that eats the crayons. I'm gonna take a nap. See you in 10 hours.
Dude, I almost had you. You almost had me. You never had me.
I like your style, dude.
End of line.
This pillow is fucking useless. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Box, the exciting show where we open a box and decide if the box rocks or if it's a box full of rocks.
I don't know if this is gonna be a good episode.
This pillow is fucking useless shirt.
Yeah.